Hi, this is Amy Birks with amybirks.com. I'm the coach to the Rebel Professional. And I'm super excited because we're trying something new here today with video. And I am here with the coach and owner of Align and Profit, Darla Ledoux, who is also my coach. And so we're going to get into Darla's story in a minute, but first I just want to kind of give you some background about me and who I am and why we're here today. So again, I am Amy Birks, and I am the coach to the Rebel Professional. And it's interesting because my story is kind of different. I started out with a career in a corporate environment that didn't really fulfill me. And I've always been kind of searching for the thing that really would fulfill me. I wanted to feel some freedom in my life and have fun all the time and not feel like I was in a job that wasn't really suited for me. And I got a note from the universe one day, which was an email from a guy named Mike Dooley, who sends these out every day, and it was inspiring and fun. But within the note, it described an opportunity to get certified as an infinite possibilities trainer. And I immediately saw a glimpse of what was possible for me in my life and how I could maybe help some people and do something that would be meaningful for me. And so I became certified as an infinite possibilities trainer, and then my whole world kind of opened up. And so I saw the opportunity for me to become a coach based on this training that I'd received, but realized that I didn't know all that much about running a business. And so even though I have this great corporate background in project management and implementation, when it comes to implementing things for ourselves, we can gather all this knowledge and education and be able to do things for other people really well, but when it comes to doing it for ourselves, sometimes it's challenging. And so that was really what I found. I had my certification, I had all this energy and motivation, but then I was like, okay, now what? And so I found Darla. And Darla has been instrumental in helping me get my business off the ground and teaching me the skills and knowledge that I need to be a successful small business owner. And so I'm thrilled today to have her here to talk about what she does and how she helps clients just like me, as well as kind of share a little bit about an upcoming event that she's got that's going to be super fun where we'll both be in attendance. So welcome, Darla.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. This is really fun to be together in person. So much of the work I do is virtual, and we make it a point to get together in person regularly because something magical happens when you leave your home environment and you get around people that get you. So we do that a lot. So, we've met in person quite a few times, but never like this. So yeah, it's really fun.
This is great. And so to Darla's point, this idea of getting out of your home environment is so critical for me. We're actually sitting here in Darla's home office, and it's just great. Sometimes being outside of what's familiar and what's comfortable for you is a great way to stretch yourself. And so I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to be here with you and to talk to you today. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about kind of what that means, that idea of getting outside your environment and really sharing what it's like to be a part of your community. Because I know that for me, that's one of the most impactful benefits that I get about, being a part of your environment.
Well, I was thinking when you were talking about getting the email and going, okay, I'm going to do this thing and go get certified, and how scary that probably was at the time. Because I think back to my journey. So a little bit about me. I am an engineer by schooling. I spent about 5 years doing product development as an engineer, and then I changed into doing consumer research and eventually marketing. I spent a little bit of time teaching in there, and we actually were talking about that over breakfast today about how when we do different things in our career, we never know exactly where it's going to lead, and it can be really scary to make changes and try different things. And yet all of those experiences come together to have us be an expert in whatever, the ultimate business or the ultimate purpose is that you have. And so for you, I would imagine that when you saw that email about infinite possibilities, it wasn't the first time you'd thought about possibility.
True, totally true. Yeah, absolutely. As I kind of went through my corporate career thinking, gosh, this just doesn't really fulfill me, and I'm great at it, and I like project management, and I'm really good at leading people, and this all makes sense. It was a logical sense, but nothing really within my heart made sense. And so absolutely, that idea that we're on this journey too, and that all these experiences, having 10 years in this corporate world and in this project management role have kind of prepared me perfectly for where I am now, because I have all these skills to help other people implement what they really want in their life, and
actually implement
and
it.
actually do it, and actually create it.
Gosh, if everybody in the world had this sort of awareness of their biases, the world would be a different place. And it's one of those, I call it the punch in the gut moment, when you just have this awareness, like, if this thing would be different in the world, it would change everything. And and that's true for all of my clients. There's some point of view, I call it your unique perception. There's a point of view that you have in the world that's probably been with you always. Even as a kid growing up in your family, you might have looked around and thought, I don't really understand why everybody's acting this way. Like, maybe we could just be happy or something like that. And for some people, I remember working with someone who was about the environment, and like, when someone threw a pop can out the window as a kid, he always noticed, and it bothered him. And for some people it's wellness. Like, if the world just took care of their body, the ripple effect would be amazing. And for me, it's freedom. And it's really, if we were all free to be totally who we are in our work, the world would be a different place. Because let's face it, we work a lot in our culture. And so many of us decide that we're willing to put on some hat to go to work and be someone we're not, and do something we don't care about to just make it through the day. And maybe, if we're lucky, on the side, I used to volunteer so much because I thought, well, I could at least spend a couple hours a day doing something that I care about after, and I had a good job, like you. I had a good job, and there was really nothing to complain about. It just didn't move me.
Yeah.
There was something else that called to me. So, I left that corporate job. Once I had that awareness, I left, and I taught high school for a while. I actually thought, I was too terrified to do a business because I didn't know anything about how to run a business. And I was like, you've got this degree, like, you can't just quit and go do something else. Why'd you get that degree? And so I decided, for me, I made a decision to martyr myself, because I took less than 50% in terms of my pay to go be a teacher. And I thought, well, I can shove some coaching in, right? I'll work with these young people, and I'll do some coaching, and at least I'll be making a difference. And it really, in a lot of ways, it worked, because I did get to practice being someone who instilled possibilities, which was awesome. But I also realized that these kids were going home to their same environment every day at the end of the day. And so I only had so much of an impact and so much influence. Not to mention, I also realized I didn't love being broke.
Yeah.
Amazing. I really didn't love it. So I went back into corporate, and I thought, I justified. So you maybe see this with some of your clients, because you're the rebel professional, and that means, to me, you've got other ideas than the people around you in corporate. You can see something a little bit different. And so you probably have people that kind of talk themselves into settling. And that's kind of what I did when I left teaching. I got a job in marketing, a big company, and it was a good job again. And I worked really hard to find a way to make it okay with myself that I had sold out. Because at some level, I knew that I was called to do my own thing. And I had practiced the principles in my teaching career, and I saw them work. I saw kids create things that I couldn't believe that they could create. And so I knew they worked, but I was still scared. So I got a job, and I tried to fit my mission into that job. And I thought, well, if I just think about it this way in my mind, I can be okay with this job. On a small scale, I'll be the person I want to be within my little team. I'll empower my team or whatever. Only the company on the whole, their mission wasn't connected to mine.
Right.
And it started to get more and more uncomfortable to be there. I don't know if you had that experience.
Absolutely, I have. And because all throughout this corporate career that I've had, I thought, okay, well, I'll start with this company. I'll come in an entry-level position, and I won't really love it, and that'll be okay, but I'll have growth. or I'll have opportunities to lead a team, and that will provide me with this. All my whole life I thought I'm intended for more. I'm intended for more. I'm supposed to do more. I'm supposed to help people. I know that. And so when I became a manager, I thought, here now I can actually help people. I'm going to help a team. I'm going to help people grow their careers, and I'm helping my customers. We're going to help them succeed financially because I work for a bank, and all of that. And so even, as my career grew over the years, I just kept having to rationalize the ways in which the mission that didn't meet my mission was going to try to meet my mission. And so it really took this kind of eye-opening experience to determine that no, this isn't the thing, and I'm great at it, and I've been very successful and very fortunate, and it's provided me with a fantastic skill set to make me so good at what I do love to do, but it's not the thing, and that coaching is the thing. You said something about that made me think of this idea that in all likelihood you probably took that job because it was going to meet some other needs for you, right? And so you were you'd taken a more than 50% pay cut, and so this was going to provide you with maybe more money or additional opportunities. And so I think that is a really common thing, don't you? I mean, do you see that in your clients too?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I'm hearing you talk and talking about, well, I'll take this thing I don't love until I work my way up, and then maybe I'll love it. And whenever we're rationalizing like that, it's a red flag. And it's not bad, because you learned all kinds of things. And so for me in that corporate job, I really learned the power of having a mission, and having a mission be aligned with your bigger, structure. And at the end of the day, if you've got competing missions, it just doesn't work. And so if you're someone with a crystal clear idea, even if you don't know how to do it, that's the thing. So we've been working on packaging and pricing your services and all of that, and I've worked on that. I didn't know anything about that when I first started my business. But when you know the mission that you're on and it doesn't line up with where you are, you've got to go. But that doesn't mean that you have to judge yourself for having made that decision.
I'm so glad you said that, because it reminds me of how... So I had heard you talk about this idea of that what you do, what comes naturally to you is what you need to charge the most for. And I heard it, and it never really clicked for me. And we've been working together for months and months now, and and I've been following your work for even longer. And so I've heard you say this a few times, and it didn't really make sense to me until just a few weeks ago when we were in our retreat with the rest of your private clients, and I really started to hear other people say, do you have any idea how valuable it is that you can take people from A to B, that you know how to see their vision and see exactly the path to implement to take them there. And I'm like, but that's just what I do. Like, I just see it. It's so easy. And so it was in that moment when everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is what you need to do. This is exactly what you do, and this is so perfect. And what a value that is. So I didn't get it until I had that experience. And so I think that, not only is that just such a true statement that I think we all need to really embrace, is that even though we think it's so simple, and how could we possibly charge thousands of dollars for something that to us comes so easily, that absolutely we should. But I think it also says so much about the experience of working with somebody who understands that and can also help you figure that out for yourself too. I would not have had that experience had it not been for my work with you and being in a room with your community. Yeah.
That's a great segue, because we're here to talk about an upcoming event, Align It Live. And, I was thinking about a couple things related to that retreat. So one of the things that I believe personally, we all have an overarching umbrella in our business, the mission that means the most to us. For me, it's about being free to be yourself and get paid. And then there are supporting points of view. And that's part of what we'll do at Align It Live, is help people figure out what is their overarching umbrella message in their business that matters most to them, and then the supporting points of view. And one of mine is that we can't know who we are in a vacuum. So often we're afraid to tell people about our dream, about the business that we envision, so we keep it to ourselves. And we sit behind our laptop and we try to figure it out. And we go online and research what other people are doing, which generally makes us feel worse about ourselves, because either we think, someone else is already doing it, so I can't do that. Or we think like, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to do. I can't possibly do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we get smaller. And the truth is, we can't see our genius. We just can't. Like you said about the fish, Einstein says, I don't know who discovered water, but it sure wasn't a fish,
Mm-hmm.
because we can't see what's so natural to us.
Right.
So we can't know who we are in a vacuum. You've got to get out and be around other people. And the scary thing about that is you want to be around the right people. Because if you put yourself in an environment, most of us, at least most of the people I tend to attract, weren't raised in an environment where their possibility was supported.
Right.
Where, their crazy ideas were honored. For the most part, we were taught, like, you go to work, you get a job, you go every day, it doesn't matter if you like it, you've got to pay the bills,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, your crazy ideas, at least for me, when I started charging for things, because I'm an entrepreneur at heart, I was shamed, So I was like, oh, don't do that. Give it away. Just give yourself away. So you've got to get in the right environment around people who can see what's possible, and also people who are willing to say to you, I would really value that.
Mm-hmm.
And to tell the truth if they wouldn't, so you can kind of find your crowd. So it's so important to get out of your space, out away from the people around you as much as you love them, and into a space that calls for your possibility.
Yes.
So, we've got an event coming up. I'm hosting an event called Align It Live. Amy is actually a speaker at the event, so I'm really excited. I can't wait to see her take the stage. If you follow Amy, you will love this event. In particular, if you've been thinking about starting a business, or you have a business, but it's not yet making the money you want. Maybe you're charging dollars per hour. You're not 100% sure where your next client will come from. It's like, oh, I hope maybe I'll get another client, versus really knowing how to market yourself, where your clients are, how often to market. Really, are you speaking? Are you doing video? What are the avenues to get in front of your client in that moment when they need you? And then how do you package and price yourself so that it works for you and it works for them? And I could go on and on about like dollars per hour and some of the structures that entrepreneurs set up. Kind of like when I was thinking about tutoring, and I thought, if I took $40, like, that would be amazing, But in truth, you want to really think about your audience and where they want to get to, and sell them a solution versus an hour of your time, because that hour is only going to take them so far. So, and that's part of the work we'll do when we're together live. That's a whole other topic. But what would you tell people about just getting out of your space and into a room with other entrepreneurs?
It's interesting because I know that I get so much out of the individual work that we do together when we talk and have our one-on-one time. And in addition to that, the growth that I do in our time in a room with the rest of your private clients is probably 100 times what I've gotten in my whole lifetime, in fact. I was thinking recently about how this business is relatively new for me. It's been about 6 months or 8 months or so where I've really been actively working at it and trying to build it, and that there have definitely been some frustrations, certainly, things, this is just what comes with starting a business, but it's also been the most enlightening and growth-inspiring experience of my entire life. I have grown more in the last 6 months working with you and your group of women than I have literally in my whole life. And I feel like I'm somebody who has really sought self-education and self-development throughout my life, and especially in my adult years. But this has been, literally like take all the years that I've worked on trying to like figure out my stuff and achieve some level of real happiness and balance in my life, and multiply that by about 1,000, and that's what I've gotten from being outside of my environment, stretching my comfort zone, willing myself to be around people who truly understand where I'm going and what my journey looks like, and within 10 minutes of knowing me can immediately embrace the value that I provide and what I'm here in this world to do. And that, I think, says so much about the people that you attract and the way that you structure the environment that you create for your clients.
That's also a piece of what you get when you get out of your environment and you can take a step back. Because when you're in it, it's just what it is. It's the water you swim in. So it's like, I work at night, even though I hate it, because that's what I have to do because I've chosen this career. Or when I started, it was, well, I'm not going to make very much money because I've chosen this career. Because I've chosen to do what I love, I can't make money. And it just seems normal until, for me, I got out of my environment. I went to an event where I saw someone who was doing exactly what I was doing, but they were making money.
Right.
And I was like, making good money and talking about money. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe I can do what I want and get paid. And before that was not a possibility. So I know you're coming, and obviously you're speaking, so that's part of why you're coming. But aside from that, what do you expect to get? Or what would you say your people would expect to get if they come?
So,
because you've got tickets for them.
Yes, I do. I have tickets that are available for 5 very special amybirks.com guests that would like to join me and Darla at this amazing event coming up at the end of next month in March. And so I would say that, I mean, everything that you just described, certainly. I think that transformation is inevitable if you're going to be in the room with Darla, with me, with our group. And I think that, so I'll say that the biggest takeaway that I've received in working with you and being in an environment that you're creating is, and it's interesting because I know that this is something that you talk about a lot, but that I have really, truly learned how to think, relearned. Like all my programming has changed. And so now, for example, yesterday, I spent the entire day trying to create a video. We talked about this at breakfast. And I filmed it a bunch of times, and it came out really great. And then it took hours, like all the technology after that just went completely crazy. And I hear maybe Mercury's in retrograde, and that perhaps has something to do with it. But in any case, it was very, very, very frustrating because when I finally got the editing software to work, I had the perfect video, and it was awesome, and it was my first shot, and I was so amazed. And I went to bed at like 11:30 after literally working at this all day, and came home this morning to find that it was all gone, and that the SD card had been wiped, and I don't have any footage left, and it's all gone. And so I'm gonna have to start from all over from the beginning. And so I gave myself about 15 seconds to really have a meltdown about it, and got mad and angry and what a waste. And then my new way of thinking, really, it was just amazing how I felt like a switch was flipped, and I thought, okay, all right, that's annoying. What's the opportunity? Yeah. What's the opportunity here? Okay, great. So I didn't totally love the script that I written anyway. Maybe I'm going to create something better next time. And now I know that I don't want to use this particular software for editing, and that it really didn't take all that long to do anyway. It was just all these other little technical glitches, and I can probably do this pretty quickly. And you know what? This was intended, and I'm supposed to have this experience, and I'm going to create a better video the second time around. And I would not have been able to have that experience this morning had it not been for my experiences in a room with you and your people, because that truly has been the most impactful thing. I'm getting tons and tons of amazing guidance about my business and all the logistics that are involved as well, but this is kind of this added side benefit that I don't think you necessarily would know that you might have coming into an entrepreneur marketing type event.
One of the things I teach is about energy, and there's 7 different levels of energy or motivations that you can come from. And so for you, when you talked about what's the opportunity, maybe it's going to be better, that's a level 5 approach. And so we start all of our retreats, we'll be teaching about it at the event, with looking at what's your motivation, or where are you coming from in your action? Because if we're coming from, let's say you're selling your services, and you're coming from, I hope that they'll buy, and I think that they might not because it might be expensive and I'm not sure. Energetically, people pick up on that. Versus if you're coming from, my offering really is going to empower people to change their lives, and I know it with certainty, it's a whole different energy. And so similarly, when things go wrong, which they do. I actually taught a class this morning on resistance and about how resistance is such a gift, because when things go wrong, it helps us to get clear about something. And so the more things don't ruffle your feathers, the more effective you are just in life in general, not even just in business. One of my newest clients had done a teleclass, and the technology had an issue. And she said, I sat on the couch and ate cheese for a day. And I mean, that's reality, right? I mean, it's like we get frustrated and we think, forget it. And so the goal in our work together is to really have you be unflappable. It's like, however it goes is how it goes. Mm-hmm. And we know what we're committed to, and that the universe has our back, essentially. Right. Maybe you should talk a little bit about the universe, because you got your coaching certification from the universe. From
the guy who is the universe. Yeah. You know, I do. I really, so the Infinite Possibilities training is really all about that idea that what we put in, or what we put out, is what we get back. And so the kind of the premise, or the motto that Mike Dooley, the thought leader behind Infinite Possibilities, what he goes by is that thoughts become things. And so I think there's something to really be said for this idea of being able to have an intention, set an intention, and then have faith that it will come to fruition. I think that's another really huge thing that we tend to forget about, especially as business owners, or as potential business owners, because we see it as very scary. And we look at this idea that, you know, life has to be practical. And what we've learned throughout our lives is that, you know, you get a job, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, you have a career, you enjoy life on the weekends and in the evenings and on vacation maybe, and then you get to retire. And when you're 70 and your body doesn't really work for anymore, that's when you can go try rock climbing. But not now. Don't do it now. Don't have any adventures now. And so we have this fear of, you know, somebody's going to judge me, or what if I fail? That's always been my fears. What if I fail? Oh my gosh, everybody's going to see it, and I'm going to be humiliated. And so I've learned to kind of like chase those fears down the rabbit hole and realize, okay, so what if I fail? Yeah. Well, people will see it, and so maybe I will be a little bit humiliated, or maybe I won't, and it'll be another experience for me, and it's not going to kill me, and I'm always going to be okay in the end. And so I think that when we can see that our fears don't have the power that we tend to believe that they do, and that our faith has way more power than the fear does, then we can do anything that we want. And that's what I love about my business, and is that I see that I have faith in the ability of my clients to do anything that they want. And they may not know how to do it, but that's where I come in, because I can take them from A to B. And seeing that vision and having that faith, and setting an intention, and just making a conscious, very specific decision that this is what the end result that I'm after is going to look like. Even though it may meander, or you may find that you're learning things along the way, you're always getting what you put out there.
And it is amazing. You know, I have countless stories of clients who've made a decision. And maybe it seems a little crazy or wild, you know, like I'm going to be on TV, or I'm going to make this certain amount of money to quit my job, and it's a specific amount. And when it's a specific intention, the way it gets delivered is amazing. Mm-hmm. And for me, the way I've grown, because I started, you know, I was calculating my, you know, if I make $300 here and, you know, this here, then maybe I can survive. Mm-hmm. And every time I've made a decision to speak on a stage, or host an event, or do something that didn't make sense logically, like, you're not ready for this, who are you to do this? Everything starts to shift, and the universe starts to send resources and people and ideas my direction. And a lot of times we can't see it at the beginning. And it does require a leap of faith, whether you're just starting out, whether you're going to the next level. And in fact, that's the fun of it, I think.
I totally agree. And I think the other thing that we tend to do is because of the fear, we tend to talk ourselves out of stuff too. And that, I think, is such an insidious, tricky path, because we can find all the reasons that we want right in front of us, like 3 feet away, that will tell us why it's not a good idea to invest in that thing for the business, or to
travel.
Even, oh my
it's
gosh,
like
to travel,
such a big thing. When I started and I invested and got on a plane for my first event, I was thinking, like, who are you? Who are you to just make a decision to spend money and fly? Like, I'd worked in corporate, and they flew me places, and, you know, and it was like, that's what you do. But to decide on your own, my business matters and I invest just like my company invested in me and I'm going for this training
Right.
was like mind-blowing. And yet I did it, and it was the best decision I ever made. And so, but I've been thinking about how still today, even the people in my circle of friends, it's like, oh, I gotta travel again. And I started looking at that because I travel a fair amount these days. And there is never a time when I've traveled since I've been in business that it hasn't changed my life. Not a single time. And I travel quite a bit. And it, like, the shifts are incredible. And what if we stopped thinking about it as a special treat or a pain in the ass
Right.
and thought about it as a way of life?
Right.
That we choose our family, and if they're somewhere else, we go to them.
Right.
And we just do, because it's the world we live in today. Travel's not hard like it used to be. You know, it's pretty, like, abundant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because
Yeah.
it's funny. So every time I'm with Darla, I feel like I'm learning things, and this obviously is no exception. You know, I knew that this experience of creating this video was going to be great fun and a really great opportunity, and I would learn, obviously, about creating video, but just this bit of conversation right here just
Yeah.
gave me another aha for me. I've been thinking, just for the last few days, I had this idea that I should go on this trip to this event where Marianne Williamson is going to be speaking in New York City, and there's going to be other people there that I really admire, and I'm like, maybe I should just go to that. And I don't know, I have no idea why. I mean, like, I have followed her and think that her congressional bid is really interesting and stuff, but I don't live in California, so I'm not in, there's nothing in it for me, you know, but there was something about this event that was just speaking to me and calling to me, and so I'm going to figure it out. Because
That's
I think
awesome.
I think it's absolutely, I think the idea, again, of getting out of your environment, of finding your tribe, of being around like-minded people, of traveling to be with the family that you create makes so much sense. And so any fear or trepidation or like wonder that I had about it, I'm going to let it go and just follow my intuition, which says I should go. And so I'm going to go.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I've grown. And sometimes it has made no sense. You
Right.
know,
This makes no
why
sense
do I
to me.
need to be at that thing? I don't get it, but the signals were there. Absolutely. So for those of you who are watching and you're thinking, I want to go be with Amy and Darla because they seem like they're my people, they speak my language, get on a plane, come to Vegas.
Yeah. Do come. It's going to be incredible. The practical learning that you'll receive there, along with the sense of community and belonging, as well as personal, intuitive breakthroughs that you'll have. It's going to be unlike any other event that you might attend for the purposes of growing or beginning your business. It's just going to be incredible, and we would love to see you there.
Yeah, you know, I've been to all different events, and I've been to events that are very much about the universe and spirit and mindset. And then I've been to events that are about marketing, and they're, you know, you have to do this, and you should be on here, and you should do this, and you should do that, and here's all the things that you should be doing, and you're never going to actually do them all, so good luck.
Right, and here's your
And
plan.
here's your
This is
binder.
plan. Yeah.
And I feel like I've taken the pieces I like from both of those to design this event. So we've got about a day and a half to get you clear and really honed in on what your genius is, what your mission is, and then a day and a half to look at your business model and your marketing plan. And I've got a couple of experts coming in to talk about certain aspects of your marketing plan. But we're really going to get you clear with a couple of key decisions. Not everything that you're going to have to know for the next 5 years to be in business, but a couple of key decisions. And, you know, you might be able to speak a little bit to that around, you know, what advice you'd have for your people around what to look for in an event, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what always resonates with me is, so like to your point about attending events that are really all about kind of the woo-woo side of things, and then going to events that are really all about the practical logistics. Here's how you do it, A, B, C, D, E. And so what I think is so great is that, like you said, this is really going to be a great balance, and I think that's what's so terrific. That's, I think, why I like you so much, is because you and I are both very balanced of right and left brain, and we have a really good grasp for being able to see provide support from a place of love and really being able to see somebody's vision and know that it's possible to take them there, and to be able to give some tools and resources and advice from a space of, this is all about energy and the way that energy moves, and you put into it you get out of what you put into it. But then there's also this other great balance of, here's strategy, here's how you implement, this is what you're going to look at, these are the things that you're going to get out of it. And so I think that that's definitely something that you can expect from this event. Darla's been terrific in helping me really get out of my head at times. So helping me get into my head to look at the things that I need to look at to get that clarity that you'll get in the beginning of the event, but then also to then step out of that and say, okay, great, now let's talk about, we're going to do this, and now we're going to do this, and we're going to work on that telesummit, and we're going to get this, I think you need to look at video. And so that's all the practical stuff. And so definitely you can expect
And you talked about knowing how to think, and it's really knowing when are the times to pull back and go within because you need some more clarity, and when are the times that you've just, you're clear and you've got to go. And so that's a piece of what you'll learn. You'll get there'll be a lot of interaction, a lot of opportunity to ask questions and get the answer that works for you, not like the pat answer that works for a formula.
And the work we get to do together is also fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the event is going to be fun. Your retreats were so much more fun than I ever even anticipated that they would be. And your team is fun.
People who are thinking about getting on a plane, one of the things I would say is, by investing in yourself to come to this training, raise your rates. Because every time you get more training, you have more value. Mm-hmm. And that's a principle that I did too. Every time I made an investment, I would raise my rate. Mm-hmm. And so it would make sense because I was becoming a more engaged, more involved leader, and therefore it made sense, right? So for those of you, if you just want an excuse to raise your rates, come to Align It Live. Amy's got the link. She's got some complimentary tickets for you. You can come as her guest. And anything else you want them to know?
No, so many of you I only know through your email address, and it would be amazing to get to meet some of you in person and to really feel the sense of community and belonging that we create all together, and to introduce you to what has helped me become successful in my business and to really grow as a person. So I would love to see you there, and there's a link below, and please join us. Don't twice about it.
And it's there is a deposit. So you have a free ticket, but there's a deposit, and that just allows me to plan. So most people, it's $197. Most people will show up to get their deposit back. That lets us know you're going to show up, so we can buy you coffee.
Yeah,
but you get the check back right at the door.
Yeah. So please come along, and we would love to see you there. The resort is amazing. It's going to be a life-changing 3 days for everybody in the room. I just know that for certain, and I would love to see you there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And thank you, Darla, so much for
thanks
this.
for coming
to
my space.
Yes, love it. And thank you, Kimmy, behind the scenes. And this is Amy Birks with amybirks.com, and I hope to see you all in Vegas. Click the link below to join us. Thank you.